At the end of the day, I see myself as a modest, hard-working man who loves his family. Gloria and I have been married for almost 12 years, and although we have a nice home, 2 decent cars, a wife's wardrobe full of stylish clothes, and an 8-year-old daughter named Vanessa, who has an abundance of expensive toys, I often wonder if I am the perfect husband because my job demands a lot of me, and sometimes I come home feeling depressed. I tried talking to Gloria about it, asking if there was anything bothering her that she wasn't telling me, but she dismisses it like many wives do, blaming her actions on exhaustion or a bad day. I initially gave her space to work through her problems, but her distant demeanor is starting to irritate me, especially since any married couple would do that. Gloria has been distant, displaying an aloofness that I have never seen before. Recognizes that arguments with their partner often spill over into the bedroom. As a romantic, I've always tried to keep our romantic life exciting and impromptu. Years ago, I would surprise Gloria by bringing her roses after work to set the mood. Traditionally, these gestures were followed by sensual moments, but lately, Gloria seems to only appreciate them with a quick kiss and a simple thank you. Gloria has shown little desire for intimacy. As time goes on, I find myself mentally withdrawing when I get home, spending time with our child and avoiding Gloria as much as possible, which only makes the situation worse. I've spent time at work trying to figure out what was causing Gloria's conduct, but my introspection has produced no answers, and I've run through countless scenarios. Weeks when I try to initiate, she either says she's not in the mood or says she has a headache even when she agrees, remaining passive and leaving me to do all the work. I'm trying to figure out why Gloria is acting this way, and the more I think about it, the more I can't get rid of the feeling that she's having an affair. I try to convince myself that she would never violate our marriage, but the feeling still exists, so I started researching signs of infidelity to see if there were any changes in her behavior or habits. I haven't noticed any significant changes, but since most of my interactions with Gloria happen in the evenings, I can't be sure what she's like during the day. Disturbingly familiar, especially her altered attitude toward me. I've thought about hiring a private investigator, but it seems premature and unjustified without concrete evidence. All I have are suspicions, not enough to justify the expensive AP. So I started my own investigation using straightforward tactics, like calling Gloria's house during the day to check if she was there. When the results weren't consistent, I decided to take matters into my own hands and bought an old surveillance camera and installed it covertly under our garage's eaves. Gloria would sometimes leave the house and then return later, claiming she had been there the entire day. Her absences, however, were infrequent and seemed too short for anything significant to happen, unless her potential lover was exceptionally quick. These outings could have simply been routine errands that she did not think were noteworthy. It was to a covert tape unit, hidden beneath some paint cans in the hopes of monitoring any unknown cars approaching our house. But after 2 weeks of surveillance, there were no suspicious vehicles, almost no proof of an affair. But as time went on and my suspicions grew, Gloria's attitude worsened and our sexual moments became rare, frustrating me. As our 12-year anniversary drew near, I saw a chance to inject some excitement back into our marriage and suggested that we celebrate with a night out, something we hadn't done in months. Maybe dinner and dancing could rekindle our passion to reconnect, so we arranged for Vanessa to spend the night at my parents' house so that we could be together. Free from time constraints, I booked a table at Gloria's favorite restaurant, Plato's Place. As we sat down, I hoped to revive some of the magic from our past years, but Gloria seemed nervous for reasons I couldn't figure out, so I ordered her a bottle of wine, which seemed to calm her down, and our conversation returned to its lively tone. After dinner, Gloria was eager to hit the dance floor, and even though I suggested we try a different club, she preferred our go-to spot, a calm atmosphere with low lighting and music appropriate for senior citizens. We had always enjoyed dancing together, which drew us closer in the beginning. We found a quiet table and had a few drinks before entering the dance floor, which had a vintage vibe and made us feel as though we were back in time, enjoying the moment. After almost an hour of dancing, we rested at our table. I watched Gloria move fluidly across the floor, and my thoughts of intimacy lingered. but my attention shifted when I realized that I wasn't the only one drawn to her presence across the room. Despite the fact that we were in a dance club, I couldn't get the impression that the man was looking at me with a smug expression. I couldn't understand why he was there alone until I realized that, like Gloria, his partner was most likely in the restroom, closely monitoring the man while waiting for him. An extremely attractive man sat alone at a corner table, his eyes focused on Gloria's every move. I felt a twinge of dread as I saw what appeared to be a brief encounter between them. Did they know one another? Gloria's return. When Gloria asked for another glass of wine, I couldn't get rid of the uneasy suspicion that had returned. I stopped thinking about her being by herself because I went to the pub, and it didn't go well with me attracting a bartender's attention. I asked for quicker service despite Gloria's annoyance, and as the waiter came, I had a sickening feeling that the evening was going to get worse. I couldn't get rid of the visceral feeling I had when I looked over my shoulder and saw the same man still sitting alone in the "Who is the person over there?" I asked, taking Gloria by surprise for a moment. I thought I saw panic in her eyes, but she quickly recovered her composure. I continued with "The guy over there, the person you exchanged looks with on your way to the restroom." Gloria quickly denied this, honey. "I don't know what you're talking about." I didn't exchange glances with anyone. Just as our drinks arrived, I noticed Gloria's. With my eyes darting past me and my head turning, I saw the man approaching our table, completely ignoring me as he asked Gloria to dance. I said "no thanks," in a tone that betrayed my disgust, and he responded mockingly, "I was talking to the lady," offended by her smirk. "Gah, the lady is my wife and I choose who she dances with," I snapped back, feeling a wave of outrage. Gloria stepped in and tried to defuse the situation, saying, "Darren, you're being disrespectful. He's the one I was referring to, and I'm not sure what's going on between you two, but it's really rude of him to approach my wife without acknowledging me." I made a strong statement, turned back to Gloria, and resumed our conversation with Harry. I asked if I would mind if you two danced together. I might have thought about it, but now there's no chance. I made it clear that I was frustrated with Darren, and she responded impatiently, saying, "There is nothing going on between this gentleman and me. Yes, we are married, but you do not own me. I am not your slave, and I will dance if I want to." I was furious that my wife was treating me with such disrespect. She had never done so before, but I forced myself to remain composed as she went on, saying, "Honey, I just want to have some fun." Her voice softened. "Gloria, it's our anniversary and I also want to have fun, but sitting here and watching you dance with someone else isn't my idea of fun, especially when I had asked you not to dance with him." Gloria's feelings were evident in her face despite her outward anger, and I was shocked that she couldn't see them reflected on my face. "It's courteous to make this gentleman wait while we debate, because I'm going to dance with him, and we'll talk about it afterwards," she snapped, tearing through the tension. "Now you're correct. I do not own you and cannot stop you from dancing with him, but if you do, make sure he also takes you home, because I will be leaving after 12 years together." When my cell phone rang, I was already several blocks away. Gloria's voice sounded remorseful over the phone. "I'm going home to pack a bag." "Why?" I replied curtly, and there was a moment of stillness. "What do you mean? What about packing a bag? Where are you going?" the idiot asked, grinning triumphantly as he extended his hand to Gloria, who accepted and put it in his as they made their way to the dance floor. I'm sure they didn't notice my departure because I slid out the door before they even started dancing. Her tone changed to one of confusion, saying, "I'm not sure yet, but I need to get away from you." I said, "I've reached my limit. You can't be serious, Darren. It was only one dance, for heaven's sakes. Will you really throw away 12 years of marriage over this?" Gloria begged. "I haven't caught you in the ACT, but I think you're cheating on me. Maybe with the guy you recently danced with. I noticed how you two looked at each other as you left for the restroom. And when he got to our table, he treated me with the same disdain that a man displays toward the spouse of the woman with whom he has a relationship. I firmly said that there were none at all, and Darren's voice softened as she said, "I love and respect you. I swear there was nothing happening between the guy and me, and I'd never cheat on you. Why would you ever think that? You must be kidding me. We hadn't had sex for more than 2 weeks, and when we did, you were barely present." There was a long pause before she replied, "I'm sorry. Darren didn't realize I apologized for how I acted. Apologize for tonight. I apologize giving you reason to believe I was having an affair. I guess I did look at that guy on my way to the restroom. He was handsome, and I also spotted him while we were dancing, but I'm not having an affair with him. Please, honey, come back and pick me up. Can we talk about it? Nope, I've had enough. I told you that if you danced with that guy, you'd have to find your own way home, and I meant it. I'm currently pulling into our driveway, so by the time you get home, I'll be gone. If you're having an affair, you should probably go home with your lover boy and forget about me, honey. Please believe me when I say that I'm not having an affair. Look, I'll take a cab, but please wait until I get home, Gloria begged, her voice starkly different from before. About this, she pleaded, then abruptly ended the conversation. When I got home, I hurriedly packed my things and left the house because I was curious about whether Gloria would actually take a cab home or if the guy would drop her off. I drove down the block, turned off my lights, and waited for 15 minutes before a yellow taxi pulled into the driveway. Gloria hurried inside, pleased with what I saw, and headed for a motel. Almost immediately after, my phone rang again, so I turned it off because I had no hard proof of infidelity. Remained strong. I was almost convinced that Gloria and the man she danced with knew each other, so maybe it was time to hire a private investigator. If I weren't home, maybe she would turn to her lover for comfort. The following day, I searched the yellow pages for the most promising private investigator, went to his office, and paid a retainer. I then went to work, where my secretary, Joan, told me that Gloria had already called 20 times and that something was wrong. I explained our marital issues, and I didn't return her calls, so Joan was directed to deliver this message. I also instructed the receptionist not to allow Gloria to enter the offices if she arrived, because I needed to give the guy a chance to learn the truth. Now, it was a waiting game. Later that afternoon, our neighbor Andrea called, and even though I was nervous, I answered, anticipating the conversation with center on Gloria Darren. Gloria started by telling me about it the other night. She has been making a lot of effort to apologize, but she says you won't speak with her, which is true. I firmly replied, I don't have anything to say to her. I heard a sigh from the other hand. She asked if you think she is cheating on you. I said that her behavior had been strange for over 2 months, and the incident from the other night only confirmed my suspicions. She asked if she had done anything other than dance with a man, but that is not totally true. I saw them exchange glances before he came to our table, which was really disrespectful to me. And Gloria chose to back him in spite of my warning about the consequences. I've been your neighbor for years, and if Gloria was cheating on you, I'm sure I'd notice something. I've never seen any strange cars parked outside your house or strange men coming and going. Please. She understands that dancing with that guy was a mistake and gets upset because you told her not to, but she understands that you were right. I know Gloria Darren and she wouldn't cheat on you. Please don't assume otherwise, Andrea. I knew Andrea made sense, but I needed to give the private investigator some time to work. Andrea, please do me a favor and let her know I will call her in a few weeks. I still need time to think things out. Another groan came over the phone. Okay, Darren, I will forward the message, but please agree to call her then, all right? I promise. I reassured her, and after saying goodbye, I found myself wondering again. Her behavior the other night did not reflect affection. For the next 2 weeks, I was extremely nervous. I called the investigator multiple times, but there were no significant updates. Eventually, he invited me to his office, and as I sat down, my stomach twisted with anxiety. He pushed a manila packet at me, and my palm shook as I lifted it. He told me to skip the routine information and directed me to the bottom of page 5 with trembling eyes. Andrea and her husband Jack were close friends, and I couldn't imagine her lying to me. Feeling as though the ground had moved, I flipped through the report until I found the right page. Could this be the proof I desperately needed? After conducting a thorough investigation, this office found no evidence to support the client's accusations of infidelity by his spouse. I looked back up at the investigator, unsure of how to respond. Are you certain? I asked, my tone indicating disbelief. Mr. Barnes, my crew has been closely monitoring your wife's every move for the past 2 weeks. I thanked the investigator before saying, Go home, Mr. Barnes. The investigator advised gently returning to your wife and child. In my line of work, happy endings are a rare sight. I watched the house, tracked her communications, and followed her everywhere she went. We looked over her phone records and credit card transactions, and there is simply no indication of an affair. He confirmed that relief flooded over me, threatening to overwhelm me. I knew I needed more time to think about everything that had happened over the weekend, so I headed back to my hotel room on Monday morning, feeling prepared to make a crucial call. Gloria answered, her voice quivering with emotion. "Hello, it's me." I said, "Are you okay? You sound upset." There was a brief silence before she spoke again. "Darren, I'm so sorry. I'm just not sure what to do if you don't get back to us. I tried to be strong for Vanessa, but I can't stop crying. I acknowledge now that I took you for granted. All right, I should have explained to the man that I was with my husband and wasn't interested. I don't know why I treated you so disrespectfully, but I respect and love you. I swear to Darren, if I get another chance, I won't make the same mistake twice." Her emotional plea caught me off guard because it was so different from what she had done at the dance club. As I hesitated to respond, she asked in a sad voice, "You're not returning, are you?" I told her that I would return, but only temporarily, because I wanted my wife back. I'm still not convinced, but Andrea insisted that we will see him despite everything I've experienced, including the attitude, lack of intimacy, and disrespect. I told her that I would be going to the motel after work to pick up my belongings, but I would be home tonight. There was a pause before Gloria started, and her voice was filled with guilt. "I love you, Darren, and I sincerely apologize for how I treated you. I do not want to lose you despite everything." Her comments, I was still upset, and even after the evidence, I couldn't get rid of the suspicion that Gloria knew the man from the dance hall. After work, I packed my things and went home, where Vanessa welcomed me warmly at the door, unaware of our recent problems. Gloria was also there, putting her arms around me and kissing me tenderly as I gave her a passionate kiss in return. I couldn't deny that I still loved my wife, which happened 2 years ago, and that married life has been nothing short of amazing ever since. As a gesture, she surprised me with a birthday party a few months ago. We hadn't done anything for my birthday before, but it became a tradition after I returned. Last night was our 14th wedding anniversary, and Gloria was in charge of getting everything ready. When I got home from work, she gave me tickets to a dinner playhouse show called Men of La Mancha, which is one of my favorite plays. After the show, we drove down to the lakefront and took a stroll along the lake. Although the calendar showed that spring had arrived a few weeks ago, Gloria was unable to go outside without her heavy winter coat until today, marking the final end of another harsh Chicago winter. The shore, the moon's lovely brightness, and the gentle winds flowing from the lake made it feel like a scene from a romantic movie. "I love you very much," Gloria muttered, as if we were still in the honeymoon stage of our relationship. As she hummed along to the melodies on the car radio, Gloria noticed the beautiful blue blooms blooming from the yard. Their resilience in the face of winter's challenges reminded her of spring's natural longing for regeneration and new beginnings. She also remembered the warm, cozy feeling of being cuddled by her husband in bed and listening to the soothing rainfall. After taking in the fresh morning air smell left by the mild April shower overnight, a smile spread across her lips. Gloria visited the cozy coffee shop to catch up with her friend Zara, whom she hadn't seen in a long time. Zara had a boy the same age as Gloria's daughter Vanessa, and the two had become close friends over the years, sharing each other's joys and struggles. Zara had arrived early, securing a comfortable table in the corner close to the window. They waved and grinned through the glass as Gloria walked through the crowded cafe, filled with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Joined the lengthy line of customers waiting for their Colombian happiness. Zara grinned when she saw Gloria and Rose, and they both exclaimed and gave each other a warm hug before sitting down. Gloria said, "It's been too long. How have you been?" Zara's eyes brightened as she shared the news, and they laughed at the memories of school events and stories about their kids. They were amazed at how fast time had gone by as they jumped right into conversation. Zara leaned closer and lowered her voice, and Gloria whispered, I can't. We haven't crossed any lines yet, but I am definitely thinking about it. It's Eric, you know. He makes me feel alive, but I'm afraid he'll lose interest. Gloria replied by miming, locking her lips and throwing the key. What up? I probably shouldn't tell you this. Zara confessed her excitement clearly, but I've been fine. Gloria's coffee paused halfway to her lips as she looked at her friend, surprised. Are you suggesting considering having an affair? Zara gave a wicked half-smile. If I don't pursue it further, wait, Gloria said in a worried tone. Have you thought about the consequences? Are you willing to risk your marriage for him? Zara shrugged, smiling and saying, Spice of life. Don't worry, I'll make sure Nick never finds out. He'd be devastated to know, plus Eric is married, so we'd need to be discreet. Gloria battled a wave of anxiety, divided between loyalty to... Her friend and she decided to share her own moral compass with Zara after 2 years of keeping it a secret. Remember, Darren and I went through a tough time a few years ago, and he did leave me for a while. Remember, yes, I do, but you never actually talked about it. I did not want to pry. Zara replied, I never told anyone, and you must pledge that you will not tell anyone else what I am going to tell you. Gloria said this in a serious tone, and Zara nodded solemnly. Of course, Gloria. I promise if this gets out it might ruin my marriage, which is why I have kept it. Gloria said, I'm probably not really different from most married ladies after 12 years of marriage. I started to feel bored. Everything was becoming routine. It as if after all these years I looked around and thought, what am I doing? Where am I? Going nowhere felt stuck, as if did not have a true life of my own exactly. Zara interrupted, her eyes indicating that, even though it was hidden, you should hear it before taking any actions that may harm your own marriage. Gloria paused while the waitress refilled their coffee cups before continuing. Her voice was low and urgent. I know exactly how you feel, Zara, and I think most women go through similar things. It's not that you don't love your husband. I really admire Darren, but now I feel like something is missing. I started to feel like I was slipping into a mild state of sadness, and it wasn't anyone's fault because Darren was doing everything he could for me, especially in the bedroom. I should have been overjoyed, but nothing seemed to lift my spirits, not even the school activities. With a deep sigh, Gloria said, I was in that small grocery store on Marshall Avenue one day, and there he was, Zara. He was breathtaking with his rugged good looks, sandy blonde hair, and I came to my senses before things got physical. Gloria took a moment to sip her coffee, measuring Zara's reaction and observing her friends' attentive faces before continuing. Did you know you were having an affair? Gloria asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Gloria nodded solemnly. Yes, fortunately. I came to my senses before things got physical. He had a good build and hypnotic blue eyes that gleamed like Robert Redford's. I'm tall too, even with his clothes on, and I couldn't take my eyes off him until he caught me. Naturally, I blushed as he smiled back at me. We began flirting, which was exciting and almost forbidden, but I eventually snapped out of it because I wanted to concentrate on my shopping. I went to the fruit section and reached for some tomatoes when I ran into him. He greeted me with his gorgeous blue eyes and attractive grin. Zara, I hate to admit it, but I could feel myself getting aroused. It was really awkward, and I wish. He couldn't smell the scent I gave off. I must have blushed a lot. He offered to shake my hand and introduced himself, and even after seeing my wedding bands, he persisted in pursuing me. It was satisfying to think that a man like him would be interested in me, and as we walked down the aisles to the checkout, he confidently gave me his phone number and proposed that we have lunch. Next week, Zara listened intently to Gloria's story and found it to be very familiar. I nearly threw away his card as I was leaving the store because I thought we would have a passionate affair and my husband would catch us, but I didn't. What didn't you do? Zara asked curiously. Wow, on my way home, all I could think about was Louis Darren arriving as I was putting away the groceries. I was already feeling guilty, so I snapped at him when he offered to help. It was like an unconscious defense mechanism, poor. When Darren asked if something was wrong, I said, My God, what have you told him? Naturally, I lied and said that I was just a little tired from shopping, but in reality I was secretly ecstatic. Gloria went on, thinking that I shouldn't call. Him because it was wrong, but I couldn't help myself. I found one of the last payones in the city and dialed the number on his card, and we decided to meet for lunch the following day. Zara waited for Gloria to take another sip of coffee before I felt a mixture of fear, excitement, and intense desire as we went to the restaurant, Zara. At one point, Lewis reached across the table and held my hand, and I felt a strong urge to have sex with him, but I was unable to act because of guilt or possibly fear. However, Lewis persisted, and he subtly made fun of Darren, making me doubt our relationship foolishly. I fell for it, and before I knew it, Lewis had deftly tricked me into thinking Darren didn't appreciate me. Gloria Zara said, "Your situation sounds so similar. That's why I'm telling you this, Zara. I want you to understand what you might be getting into." "Has your guy mentioned Nick yet?" Zara replied, pausing. Hugh asked a few questions such as, "Does your husband realize how lucky he is?" "I understand." Gloria nodded knowingly. "And now you're beginning to wonder. It's amazing how things can go unnoticed. Didn't even realize that I couldn't feel passion with someone who seemed to be taking me for granted." As Gloria described her experience, she noticed a realization dawn in Zara's eyes. Zara thought, "What kind of man would have an affair with a married woman? Nick wouldn't do that, right?" Zara firmly replied, "Exactly, so why put your marriage at risk for someone like that?" Gloria asked pointedly, and Zara considered what Gloria had to say. Regardless, we met. The following week we had lunch again, and each time it got harder to stay faithful to Darren, he almost persuaded me to return to his place. I could feel his annoyance at my excuses, and I knew that if we went to lunch again, we would end up in bed together. As we were leaving the restaurant, I casually mentioned that I needed a new dress because Darren had planned a special anniversary outing. I also hinted that we might go to a dance club where we used to enjoy reminiscing about the past. Lou saw an opportunity and took advantage of it. He insisted on going to the club with me and said he would dance with me. I warned him that it was our anniversary and that dancing with someone else might make Darren angry, but Lewis, in his haughtiness, waved away my worries, saying it would teach Darren a lesson. He wanted to show Darren that other men wanted me, believing it would make Darren value me more by Gloria. He actually showed up at DS Zara, shocking Gloria, who took a sip of her coffee before responding, "Yes, I did." Naturally, I ignored him. Darren was offended and gave me an ultimatum saying I couldn't dance with Lewis because you know how stubborn I can be. Naturally, Darren became upset and insisted on dancing with him. Darren warned me he wouldn't be there when we finished, but who takes such threats seriously? And Zara saw Gloria's eyes welling with emotion as she continued. Zara gasped in shock when Louis approached and asked me to dance. I confronted Louis about his disrespectful behavior toward Darren on the dance floor. He said that he wanted to put Darren in his place, which only made me more irate. Of course, Lewis kept me close while we danced, but I was too distracted to notice when the first dance ended and we began the second. When the music stopped, I told Louis that there would be no more dances and that I would spend the rest of the evening with my husband. Returning to our table, I noticed Lou following me. I asked him what he thought he was doing and said that he wanted to apologize to Darren. When we got back, Darren was gone, so Elle sat down and casually mentioned that he would wait with me until Darren returned. I had a bad feeling that he didn't intend to apologize, but rather was determined to cause conflict between Darren and me. Zara asked, perplexed, what would he gain from that? I assumed that he hadn't been successful in seducing me, so he attempted to sow discord between Darren and me instead. I probably hoped that I would turn to him for comfort, thinking that we would end up together before the night was over. I thought Darren had gone to the restroom, so I urged Louis to return his table, but he hesitated. The waitress came over, so he took the opportunity to order drinks, and she asked if we wanted to start another tab. I was shocked to learn that Darren had already paid the bill before leaving with Zara. It felt like I was watching my entire married life fall apart, and I couldn't imagine how devastated she was. Described her tale, and Zara couldn't help but feel her friend's suffering. Before long, a single tear trickled down her cheek. "You don't have to tell me all this, Gloria," Zara said in an empathetic voice. "You're upset. Maybe we should pause." "No, I need to tell you everything." Gloria insisted that she resolve the matter clearly, saying that you need the full picture, it's crucial. She paused, gathering herself. So where was I right away? I called Darren and asked him to come get me, and that's when he dropped the bombshell he suspected I was. It hit me like a ton of bricks, Sarah, as she continued. It was like a sudden realization that it wasn't Darren taking me for granted. He'd done everything to support me. It was me that was taking him, Vanessa, and our life together for granted. Having an affair possibly with Lewis, he said, was considering packing a bag and leaving uncertain if he'd come back. I realized that I was risking my entire marriage for some idiot, so I begged Darren to come back so we could talk. But he refused, so I called a cab. What was Lewis doing during all of this? Zara asked him that he wasn't giving up yet, that Darren didn't deserve me, and that he wanted me to go home with him. I stopped him right away, she recalled with a laugh, but he continued to follow me outside and made advances. When the cab came, I didn't think twice about giving him a knee to the groin, which made him double over in pain. I warned that any more contact would result in a closeness intimidation lawsuit. Zara reached out, gripping her friend's hand, and Gloria brushed away more tears by the time Darren was gone when I got home, so I tried calling, but his phone was off. Zara, I was terrified, because I could see my marriage disintegrating before my eyes. Everything we built and our entire family seemed to be on the verge of disintegrating. The following day, I tried to contact him at work, but he refused to speak. His secretary said he had told him not to see me if I came by. Desperate, I turned to Andrea, my neighbor, hoping that since Darren had a good relationship with her and her husband, she would persuade him to talk to me. Surprisingly, he did. Talk to her, but only to let her know that I need some time to think and that he should get in touch with me in a few weeks. Knowing that pressuring him would not work, I decided to give him the space he asked for, and those 2 weeks were painful whenever Vanessa was around. I put on a brave front and told her that Dad was away, but in private I was crying uncontrollably, fearing that I had ruined our relationship forever. Gloria paused her voice, and she apologized to Zara, wiping away tears. It's still difficult to talk about even now. I was on the verge of losing everything, and let me tell you, it made me realize how fortunate I was. In the end, Zara, love must win out over desire. I love Darren, and he loves me. In my opinion, no man is worth risking that for. Wow, Zara replied thoughtfully. You're absolutely right. I can't imagine what would happen if my husband left me. Did you ever confess the truth to Darren? Are you kidding me? Zara gave Gloria a comforting squeeze and said, I'm so glad you shared your story with me, Gloria. You've saved me from a huge mistake. Thank you. After almost losing him, I couldn't risk a repeat, Sarah. I live in constant fear of him discovering the truth. But since he came home, I've worked hard to be the best wife I can be, taking him or our marriage for granted every day. I can only hope it's enough if Darren ever finds out. When Darren got home from work, Gloria greeted her husband with warm hugs and kisses. She then tentatively set their next meeting before saying goodbye. Gloria felt a sense of accomplishment, knowing that she had just saved her friend from a terrible decision she made at home in time to welcome her daughter with a kiss and snack after school. Vanessa is growing up so fast, she thought. She'll be 10 soon. Where does the time go? Later that night, when Darren was sleeping soundly next to her, Gloria turned on her side and propped herself up on her elbow. She studied the lines on his face, each of which represented the passage of time and treasured memories. With gentle fingers, she traced a few of the more recent lines, feeling love and admiration for the man next to her. Gloria gave him a gentle kiss, and as their kiss deepened, Darren's lips curled into a wide smile and he embraced his beloved wife. Firmly giving her a passionate kiss in return, I thought you were asleep, Gloria whispered. In fact, I was considering what to get Vanessa for her birthday when he said, Do you know what she really needs? Gloria asked for a baby brother or sister, and Darren said, That's not entirely surprising. It seemed like her husband had decided for them, but since her birthday is just 2 months away, Gloria teased, Shouldn't we start? Darren's smile widened. 2 months later, Vanessa celebrated her 10th birthday with a large backyard party. Her parents invited all of her friends, making sure there was enough cake and ice cream for everyone. Following the celebrations, Gloria and Darren gave their daughter another special gift and the happy news of an impending baby brother. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you liked it and subscribed, please do so. If you have a story to share about your situation or someone else's, please do so. Do not hesitate to get in touch with me. Be careful.